Oops. Hi. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Renee, hi. Thank you for being here. Kim, had so much fun meeting the group. Michelle, hi, Michelle. Belinda, Shannon, yes, lovely. Wow, it's so great to see all of you. Yeah, I'm a little tired. I was telling the gals in Kim's room, I'm really kind of feeling hungover, not from drinking. Those days are long. I mean, I'm not hungover anymore. No. But I feel kind of that groggy, kind of can't focus because. Okay, I understand. Boy, the bathroom is coming along. I love that that line of that dark tile. I hope the soap dish went well. Hi, Adria. Andrea. Making a lot of progress. I know you decided they were gonna basically commit the weekend, and it seems like you got some stuff done. You did more today. Okay, excellent. You have been so patient. I mean, you've got Job beat by a mile. I don't even know. We're in the more than a year waiting for the bathroom to be done. I think, right? Over a year. Probably pushing 2, I think. Hi, Nancy. Getting your list of to-dos for the week. To-dos. To-dos. Oh, that's the theme. That's the theme for Kim's thing. I couldn't when they said to do. I it didn't register. Nothing's really registering today, so it's going to be we'll get what we can get done and move on. I'm going to read out of my book. Some observations from both sides of the refrigerator door. Um, oh, that's yeah. I forgot. Yeah, that's probably a really good plan. Hi, Adria. And it's a little bit longer reading than nearly. Okay. I didn't want to say that because, but I had a feeling that it were at that 3 year mark. So it's a little longer reading than I normally do, but it just kind of flows. And hi, Lydia. Last week I don't, well, I'll give you a quick recap. There was a kindergarten class that was asked to perform for some teachers conference, and someone suggested the Cinderella story, and the teachers thought, oh, that's great. We can have hi, Colleen, a cast of thousands, because when you're doing a play with kids, you have to make sure you got a part for everybody. Everybody had been given a part except Norman, and Norman was standing off to the side. And she said, well, Norman, what do you want to be? And he said he very emphatically announced that he was going to be the pig. And the teacher kind of thought, well, really, there's no pig in Cinderella, but so be it. So Norman was the pig. And so I'm going to pick up at that point in the story. For the new folks, I see a lot of new names in here this afternoon, and it's great to see you. I've been over the last, I guess, couple of years now, actually since I started streaming on Sundays, and I started reading Robert Fulghum. He's most famous for the author of everything all I really need to know. I learned in kindergarten, and it was on fire when I lay down on it. We have read this book, both of those books, over the duration of however many years I've been doing 5 o'clock streams. And those were like short little essays. This is a book, so it's kind of like broken up differently. So this is where we left off. At the climax, when the prince finally placed the glass slipper on the princess's foot, and the ecstatic couple hugged and rode off to live happily ever after, the pig went wild with joy, danced around on his hind legs, and broke his silence by barking. In rehearsal, the teacher had tried explaining to Norman that even if there was a pig in Cinderella's story, pigs don't bark. But as she expected, Norman explained that this pig barked, and the barking she had to admit was well done. The presentation at the teachers' conference was a smash hit. At the curtain call, guess who received a standing ovation? Of course, Norman, the barking pig, who was, after all, the real Cinderella story. Word of a good thing gets around, and the kindergarten class had many invitations to come and perform Cinderella. Sometimes the teacher would have to explain what it was about the performance that was unique. It has a pig in it, you see. Oh, really? Yes, the star of the show is a barking pig. But there's no barking pig in Cinderella. Well, there is now. Here's a very different version of the Cinderella story from a very different classroom. Its cast of characters are grown-ups. It's the school of hard knocks, and it happens on the street, not on stage. Mister, you got a sense of humor? Sure. I'll tell you most of a joke for a nickel. Most of a joke? Right. And then for 20 cents, I'll tell you the punchline. What if I don't want to know the punchline? Hey, it's up to you. Take a chance. Give me a nickel. What do you got to lose? Whenever I walk across this small city park, I get hit for a handout by those we commonly label winos, those burnt-out, torn edges of the fabric of urban life who use this green square as an office, bedroom, social club, and toilet. As one explained to me, we've gone to the dogs, and even the dogs don't want us. The usual request is a muttered spare change, or more specific, asking for a quarter for coffee. To cross the park is to cross an invisible toll bridge. I pay and sometimes get a kind of fraternal blessing for my coin. God bless you, brother. It's not a joyful matter, this awkward asking and giving, and I know I could choose to walk around instead of through the park. Yet they are there, and I know it. I have spare change, and they know it. So we do what is to be done in this world as it is just now. No matter what one does on behalf of the down and out and homeless, there is always this inescapable one human being to another engagement. This asking hand outreached at those times I cannot walk by and think or say that I gave money to some fund or voted for some laws and that I've done enough. I'd like to, but I just doesn't work that way. Back to the park and the man offering a part of a joke. I gave him a nickel, and he gave me a tale about a rabbi, a nun, a pig, and a chicken in a phone booth in Detroit. Outrageous joke. He had told it so well that I paid him $5 for the punchline. It was a bargain. I laughed most of the rest of the afternoon as the story came back to mind, and I sent a few friends around to the park to check it out. I wasn't about to tell them the joke or the punchline for free. The next day, I'd learned that a small-scale vaudeville show was now part of the life of the park. A waitress in one of the nearby cafes who daily went to smoke a cigarette there on a coffee break befriended several of the winos. She actually talked to them. She thought they were people. She convinced them to be more creative with their panhandling. They could be making twice as much for the same effort and have some fun as well. Why not? What did they have to lose? This explains Mr. Part of a Joke. Other offerings from the cast include short poems, songs, advice, directions, excuses, card tricks, and quick fortunes. One guy offers to laugh with you or at you for 25 cents. People now are attracted to the park who once avoided it. The new spirit may not last long, but for the time being, it is springtime there. That waitress is a fairy godmother, not armed with fancy magic wand, but with compagination, compassion mixed with imagination. She touched the winos, not on their heads, but on their self-respect. She did not give them pumpkins or shoes, but ideas on how about they might come by these things. She did not solve their problems, nor but resolve the problem of food for one day. She urged them to fish instead of begging for fish bones. She offered them a glimpse of the truth that there are always options, which is called hope. I love that. I think that's. I had to. I hope you understand why I had to read all of it. Um, so the waitress was the fairy godmother. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hi, Mitzi. Carol's here. Spent some time with Carol earlier today. And today is 8/18. Oh my gosh. Where has August gone? All right. So I started, as I recall, I think I started this whole thing last week. I got a postcard from my son. He and his wife are in, I'm assuming that's Welch. And I think they're home, and that's how it goes when someone goes away and they send you a postcard. They're home by the time you get the postcard. But he said he was enjoying the castles in Roman ruins. And I had given him the David McCully book, Growing Up Castles, and I just bought that book used, and he's enjoying to see the real thing. So I got that in the mail today. And I wanted to promote Cody Woodcrafts. He is the gentleman that makes these unbelievably beautiful barons. And I got the one with the color wheel on it because I'm color combination impaired, and this is very helpful, and it actually works. So Cody Woodcrafts. I should really put him down in my. Oh, hi, Cody. Hi, Goldie. Look. And Carol, I think I said hi to everyone. Mitzi, yep, I said her. So I just wanted to, and this is, I was afraid it wasn't going to fit, and it fits like palm perfectly, and it's light. It's not that heavy. You just bought one for yourself. Well, that's great. You're supporting a small craftsman. I think that's just awesome. So I'm promoting him. He doesn't know me. I mean, he knows I bought one, but I think beyond that. Hi, Steph. I don't see Steph, but someone's saying hi, so I'm assuming she's here. Okay, so that's his. I like his card too. Okay. One last show and tell. Most of you have seen it, but I'm just going to do a quick show and tell. This is the completed tea cozy with all the little embellishments. And on the side, added a button and a butterfly here. And I did some more stitching, kind of shored it up a little bit, added a button up here. And this is going to go to Devon for Art, also known as Yolande. And it's on, I'm going to get it. I'm going to go to the post office and hopefully get it off in the mail tomorrow. So when I stitched Tea Time, that was Becky's suggestion that I stitch Tea Time. So that's what I did. And I have this little stamp that Deb Farrell's husband made, and I designed it. It's not much of a design, but I actually have a made by ACL. My middle name is Conley, so I stamped that and stitched that on. So I actually have a little thing that, because someone said, you got to put your name on it. So I said, oh yeah, I'll put that on a piece of material and stitch. And I actually, yes, it did. Thank you, Adria. This is the only part of this whole thing that I did on the sewing machine. I stitched this on using my sewing machine. All the rest of it's hand stitched. So, all right. I think that's what I wanted, the kind of stuff I wanted to share with you. I'm glad that many of you enjoyed the collaging through the Forest book. It is addictive. It really is. And I think it was Kim. She said she had a whole bunch of, hi, Kathy. Good to see you. she has a whole bunch of those coffee, what they call coffee table books, those big coffee, books that you. And she said they just sit, and no one ever looks at them. So she was thinking that maybe she would grab one of those and just start throwing pictures in it. And Safia said I inspired her to get out her wild book, kind of the same series. And really, hi Jen, this is all thanks to Dee Dee. Dee Dee's the one that started this and got this ball rolling, so to speak. But it's a lot of fun, and I'm not doing anything to mine other than adding pictures. Kathy's doing it. Colleen's doing it. Uh, Dee Dee was on their channel once, and they did one of those pages together, and they laughed. Everyone was in stitches with the way they were setting out the and the abandoned. Yeah, I've never bought one of the abandoned places, but that's another one where you could do the same thing. And Dee Dee does that, but then she takes it to another level, but just a phenomenal level. So I think when I left off with you, it just seems like so long ago. I had started this on a piece of painter's drop cloth, and I started painting the flowers, and I just didn't like it. It was just too coarse, and I couldn't. I didn't like it. So I got out of. I think I've had this conversation with you guys before. Now it sounds familiar, and you start saying something. I think I've heard that before. So I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. I apologize. But so I got out a piece of muslin. And I think I was complaining about because I have so much of it. I didn't think I had any, so I bought more. And I use these, stamps over here. And then I colored it in with fabric pens. So now I am at a point where the plan is, whoops. I got to print out some more of those. And then I printed out more of these and then on index cards, and then painted them. And the plan is to put them, like, offset them a little bit to kind of give it maybe, and I might use foam stamps to give it some, leverage, and kind of put that around. And then I had some of these. This was a Dollar Tree thing with butterflies on it, but I cut the butterflies off. Oh, freckles. That would be fun. That would be really interesting. Oh, you were fixing dinner? Yeah. So I was thinking of maybe placing the butterflies, and I thought maybe I would just poke a hole and just stick it stick it in there. Like so. And then this was inspired by Louisa Hensel. And she, she's a Timmy designer. So we have Timmy people, and I don't know whether these are Timmy people. These may have been Graphic Fairy people. But anyway, and then I thought that I would, hi, Chris. Chris is making this most beautiful paper mache kind of sunflower. That's the flower part is probably about as big as this, right? And then she's got a long stem on it, and it's coming along beautifully. It looks so cool. That was this morning. Chris streamed with Miriam, and yeah, that's really beautiful. And when Louise did this, she threw in a couple of French knots because it's kind of like faux embroidery. And during the stream, when I was finishing the tea cozy, oh, that's right, you were there too, Ampex, yeah. And I tried several times, took several stabs at creating French knots, and I was not successful. But Louisa added like a French knot here and there to kind of like a nod to the embroidery ring. Now I added some wax. I added I added this to the embroidery ring. It's right here. and I rubbed this into the embroidery ring, and it's wax something by Art something. It's wax, and I rub that into the wood on the embroidery ring. And I've got, hi Angie, I've got a blue. It's kind of, this stuff smells really good, really really good. So I kind of rubbed the brown in, and then I rubbed in some blue. So it kind of gives you some little, some dimension on this was just that plain beige wood. So I added that on to the rim. And since I decided I repeat, I do not want to try to add French knots. So what I thought I would do, and I tried it a little bit. Now I've got this excess material here, and I thought I would stitch it down just to get it out of the way. And I have gold thread, and I thought I would, and I hope, I don't know, you can, let me see if I can get it to focus. I would do little, well, let me see if I can get it. You can't see it. Oh, there, yeah, maybe you can. I thought I would do little tiny gold stitches all the way around. And that would be my nod to the collage. And I have this gold thread, and then while I'm going around the rim, I don't know if this will focus or not. Focus, you freak. Maybe. Anyway, and then as I'm going around, when I can grab some of this material, I will, grab it and stitch it down. So that's why that's dangling, because I didn't know whether I would like that or whether I should use like a floss instead of this gold thread. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. I kind of like it. So if I like it, I'll probably do it. And it should be fairly, straight on a curve, because I'm going to actually make sure I hug the embroidery hoop. So I should have the same, width of, what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so I thought I would do that. And I am still thinking of, Miriam made a clock today, and this also could be made into a clock. And what I thought was, the clock box for the clock is thicker than this, right? But I do too, Goldie. You should like it, yeah. What I thought I would do in order to get the clock to kind of sit just up, I can cut a square. I can cut a square right here and stick the clock mechanism right in here. And then the only concern I have to make sure is that whether the clock hands, like the second hand and our hands, will clear the girls, because the girls are on tape. I mean, what do you call it? Foam tape. So, but I might try that. Movie Monsters book. I used all very old papers in the background. Oh, wow. Everyone's black and white Movie Monsters images. Very interesting, Jen. Yeah. Yeah, so are you people thinking that the gold, I think the gold thread will just be a very, now, Louisa added, she had a piece of, actually a big round doily, right? A big round doily. And then she cut that up, and she kind of had the doily, the lace doily hanging out around it. And I don't really have, I mean, I've got some doily that I could cut up and stick in there, but I'm not really a doily type of person, so I don't think I want to do that. I have some of this, the Dollar Tree Spanish moss, and I could maybe stick some of that. I just don't know. And, this is pretty, all of this is pretty loud, but I kind of like that. I mean, this was, stamping into basically wet gesso. I did that live, so you saw how I did that, and I was, really shocked at how well it came out. But so I have a lot of things I'm still trying to think about how to finish this. But what I want to do today is I want to emboss these with embossing glaze. And I think I tried embossing glaze one of the flowers. I tried to do put the VersaFine embossing ink or goop on one of these flowers, and I added the powder, but it didn't stick. I did it on this test piece, and it just you can't see that it's on the fabric. It didn't work. So I thought I would do that on these, and then that would, and see how that looks, and then decide whether, I mean, I guess I could stitch those down, but I don't know. That's something, maybe just put a stitch in the middle, but not a French knot. I'm not going to do it. Whoops. I'm not going to do a French knot. Or I could go back and watch videos again. I mean, I showed you this. That's why I did a whole bunch of French knots once upon a time, and I've just lost my French knotness ability, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to continue to chat. And hi, Beth. We were sharing travel thingies, and I didn't know that Kim's group had a theme, so I'm stitching on finishing up, the cozy, and everyone's showing travel stuff. And I said, why is everybody showing travel stuff? And right across the top, it says, travel things. I finally got with the program. So I shared some of my little travel things. So let's get out some of Timmy's embossing glaze. That's really the only embossing powder I have. And of course, I bought it all. And I know that there's a yellow. So here's embossing glaze. I think the difference between embossing glaze and embossing powder is that I think this is transparent. And I think. And I have this stuff here. And since this is flat, I can use this and with this, and I can smear that on and then add the embossing glaze. And so I have the yellow. And I think I have a, I guess there isn't a purple. Oh, I was gonna oh, they're blue. So I'm gonna restamp. I don't know why I did purple. I have no idea. Don't ask me, because I don't know. I'm gonna restamp these and do these blue, because there is blue. Let's see. I think they're both the same. I have duplicates in this. So this is speckled egg. So here's a pretty blue. So I think that's what I'm going to restamp these and color those in, and emboss and glaze. Embossing glaze? Like Julio and glaze? I don't know. That's why I said that. I have no idea. Okay, so that's what I think I'm going to do. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. And I don't need the rest of these. Let's see. Now, the other thing was maybe put bigger flowers like here. I keep on not. Okay. One of these days I'll stay in view. I wish somehow there would be a buzzer that would ring. You're out of view. It would be ringing all the time on my stream. I so apologize for that. I should just put a piece of tape and say, okay, this is where you are in. I mean, this is where I should put tape and say, this is where you're allowed to play. Even though it's crooked on my plate, it's straight in the camera. And I moved the camera up a little bit, during, and it came down, and I grabbed it before it came crashing down, and I'm afraid to touch it. So, but it's kind of straight. It's not straight. Anyway, we're good. You can see it. And now I'm going to move it out of the way because I'm going to do the embossing thing. And let's try some of that and do some stamping. The other thing is I've got some bigger stamps Hi, Pam. And I could stamp those and maybe stick those like around here. A couple of big flowers, maybe one here and one here, and put them. Hi, Mo. Well, I'm glad you stopped by and to give me the finger, and maybe have that, again, put that foam, that brings it, gives it some dimension. Because I like when you have the dimension, you get a natural shadow, which I think is pretty cool. I also have flower die cuts, so I could die cut some flowers and paint them. So there's a lot that is not resolved for me yet. But I'm going to stop talking now and get out the glazing stuff, and let's glaze the yellow ones. And I even tried stitching some gold on the butterfly, and I didn't like that at all because you could barely see it. It's like, yeah, you can't even see it. It's just like, yeah. So I gave up on that. I like the gold stitch around the perimeter of this. Okay, but I have 3, so that's perfect because Barbara Clark is the one who told me you have to have 3. You have to have an odd number. So I would have 3 butterflies. They may just be too much. But I was looking at how these were made. It's amazing. I always think about that. I don't know. Does anybody else think this way? I always think about the poor person that's sitting in some factory in China who is grinding these out every single day. Does anybody ever think that way? It's plastic, and then the plastic is kind of melted onto the back of the butterfly. I mean, someone made this. Someone punched out these little pieces and painted on these wings. Oh, I'm sorry, Angie. I hope it gets better. But you understand what I'm, and I guess some machine cuts this out. Hello, Joyce. I do. Every once in a while, I look at something, and so much is made in China, and then I think of the person that does that. But anyway, you can see I'm just more scattered than usual. And then and I paid $1.25 for, and these were in the middle of the bulrushes, so to speak. But I don't think I want to put anything on any of this on. That just I can't figure out how I could use that. But anyway, is Teresa here too? Hi, Teresa. Okay, let me move this out of the way because we don't need this on here. And I will put this over here on top of my garbage can. Isn't that where we all stack our stuff? Oh, I know. I'm thinking. Oh, I know that. And they're probably happy to have that job. I understand. Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that is the reality of it. Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. That's their job, and it's a job, right? But I just think about doing that day in and day out. I mean, we have the same. Yeah, it's factory work, and it's it's repetitive. I don't mind a certain amount of repetitive. I'm kind of that. I think I'll use. Is this going to be? I have one of those fancy things. Oh, there's those scissors. I was looking for those. One of those fancy things where you put the embossing powder, but then it's much harder to clean. I think it's much easier to fold it and through it. All right, let me just get a piece of paper and shut up. Shut up. I'll use a piece of my cream colored paper. I bought a whole ream of this cream colored paper, and this is great to print out, if you're going to print out pictures or photographs or things that you want to make them look a little oldish, this kind of gives you a head start. It's kind of this beigey color. It works very well. Okay. What are we doing? And okay, here we go. We're going to do this. We got some yellow. Let's just try a couple because I don't know whether this is going to be worth the effort. And that's the question. So let's start with 1 and go from there. I re-inked this, re-inked it. I guess it's an ink. Yeah, it says embossing ink. I re-inked it. I actually have a re-inker for that. It smells pretty good too. Kinda. All right. This is pretty, oh, okay. Let's see. Let's see. Now I'm just gonna, this is gonna be hard because I just want to do the flower petals. I don't really want to do the metal. The mittel, not the metal. The mittel. All right. Oh, I know what I can do. Duh. Sometimes I amaze myself. I know what I can do. Wait 1 second. 1 second. I have the perfect solution to that, I think. Let's see if that will work. Oh, jeez. I almost fell on the floor. I missed my chair. Oh, literally. And you landed on the chair sideways. Let's see if I can't just... Oh, that's not too bad. I like that. Okay, I can do that. That's all right. Let's try that. We'll see how that works. Let me go around and make sure this does have a long, drying time. I'll hold that down. Little spoons came with these, but they're not really spoons, so I'm not really sure how they work. I'll show you what I mean. They're odd. And they're so odd that they're buried. I mean, actually, I don't know whether it would be great if they were a little spoon. Well, I guess they are. It's kind of like this little, if I can find the freaking camera. Yeah, I don't know what they're, I guess that's just to shove it around. I'm just grateful that they all fit in this one little part of the tote thing. Okay, here we go. Whoops. Put my fingers. Oh, Anne. Surgery here. Well, it may have worked. Okay, I'm going to stick that there. Hemostats. Those hemostats are very, very old. And that's a story. That's a story in itself. The story of the hemostats and where I got them and who gave them to me and what we used them for. They were not used. They were used for illegal purposes. And some of you probably know what I'm talking about. And they came from the doctor friend of ours who delivered my oldest son. Yes. We'll take a little piece of this and we will perform some. I love watching this stuff. I love it to watch when this stuff transforms. I just find it magical. All right. Let's see if I can't. I hope it's worth it. I know it'll, oh, there it goes. There it goes. Oh, you probably can't see because of the glare. I'm sorry. Maybe. I can't. Maybe like that. Come on. And then when it starts to happen, it's just like, Oh, actually, the middle stayed clean, but now I'm going to have to add embossing powder on the middle. I have a brown, but that, that's going to be a bitch. Excuse me. It'll be difficult to do. People that are new to my channel, that's me. My mouth is not. All right. Can you see? I wish the camera could pick up the. Bye, Carol. I know I didn't drive Carol off because of my language, so I don't. Sometimes I'm worried about that. I don't know whether you can see, but it came out really, really nice. Except I have a bare spot right there. But this was like the test one. And I think that's worth doing. It's going to look, I think it's going to look really, and the neat thing, when it dries, it kind of looks like it's wet, but it's not. It's dry. Let me see if you can see the difference if I hold up one that's not done. So here's one that's not done here, and this is the one that's done. And you can see there's a little bit of a difference. And let's see what it would look like on here. Oh, yeah. And I would have it like offset. Oh, that looks, yeah, that looks pretty good. You can definitely see it's very glossy. So, yeah, I think that's a good plan. Now, the question is, do I want to go back and do the brown? That's kind of, unless you, yeah, and I don't think I'm that good. It would be great if I could do the embossing powder and the brown all at the same time, but I think that's going to be problematic. But I do believe it's worth doing it. Now the question is, yes, I have the embossing pens. I've got the clear one and I do too. It's just amazing. Isn't it magical, Teresa? It is. It's absolutely magical. The question is, now I forgot what the question was. Sorry. The question is, I forgot. It's gone. Gone. All right. I want to do that, though. I really think that that's worth the effort. And I think it would be really hard. But, what would happen? What do you think? Since the embossing powder is kind of like glossy. Yeah, I have some, I have one little thing of super fine white embossing powder. And then it picks up any color. Yeah, I could do that. And I wonder if if I just put this stuff on, that's a really good idea, Teresa. Thank you. I'll use the embossing pen and I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you, Angie. I could use the embossing pen and just get the embossing fluid right here. And then I could sprinkle the clear. Yeah, you can write with them. Yep. And especially like I've seen people with like a greeting card or something, and they do the embossing on a card, and then they add the gold embossing powder, and then yeah. Let me try that. Thank you. That's a great idea. That's what's so great about being in live streams and with people, and people make suggestions, and it's always so helpful. All right, this is the one I have. I have this. I love the name of it. Wow. Clear gloss, super fine. And here's an embossing pen. You saw me use this embossing thing with the pink, with the, what one of these things are, whatever that is. You all know what that is. And here's the embossing pen. Oops. So this is the embossing pen, Angie, which allows you to add embossing powder to like a fine thing. A fine area, like a little area like this. And this is clear. And you can't really refill these, but what I do is I just roll it in here to get it juiced up. Let me do this. Let me try this. Is that any better? I always have trouble with lighting. I don't know whether that's any better or not. Let me turn this around. I'm always jealous when I look at people's, streams and the lighting is just right on. I don't know whether that's better or not. They always say to point the light up. I don't know. Maybe over here. Okay. But I will dip this pen in here to kind of get it wet. And we'll just go through here. And thank you, Teresa. And that really kind of, because I was trying to imagine I could have sprinkled some brown, embossing, and that would have been a real bother. All right, let's try that. Woo, I'm excited. Oops, let's come over here. Come on. All right. You might just have to be careful not to emboss the one and then another right close to it, because it will cause the other over embossed powder to bubble. Oh, even after it's, well, we're going to have some bubbling, I think. You know what I'm going to try to use? Let's see. I don't have a little tiny spoon, but I have something like this. Maybe I can just... Okay, let's do this. Oh, I can just dump it right back in there too. Oh, I think I got pretty much everything. All right. I always have to remember to put the top on. That way it will have time to not heat the other. Just be careful. Okay, all right, okay. All right. Sounds like sound advice, Teresa. Thank you. We'll just have a nice little chat, and you can see, obviously you're not going to be able to see, the magic because just of the angle. But, let's see. Well, how do you know this, Teresa? My guess is something may have... Oh, wow. That transformation happened that fast. Oh, heat from the bottom. I never thought about that. But it worked. Look, can you see? If you ruined the fruit, that worked perfectly. Look at that. And now they're all glossy together. We don't have glossy petals, and the inside of the flower doesn't have to be just jealous of the glossy feathers. They're all glossed together. Oh, wow. Thank you. Wow. That is going to look killer on my, whatever that's going to be, clock or wall hanging. I'll hang it next to my other piece of 12 by, I bought a whole 6-pack of those 12 by 12 box canvases. They're a lot of fun because you can work on the inside of them too. You could do a 3D. I might do that. I would like to do a tunnel book where you cut out parts of you cut parts out of the book, and and then it tunnels down, and then you start adding things into the side. I've watched a couple of YouTube videos, and I've done it once. Oh, this way I don't really have to cover the middle because I'm going to end up glossing it with a different gloss, but Oh, I probably should have. I wonder if I, no, well, maybe. Let's try it. I'm going to try doing it all at once. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'll cover it up. And then I'll cover it. I'll cover it. I'll cover it. Oh my God, I can't speak. I'll cover it all up and then I'll put the little piece of paper on it when I put the yellow stuff on it, if that makes sense. And since this is a dual flower, I'm going to have to punch out another thingy here. And exploding. And exploding. I'm not sure. I know what that is. Was that something that just opens like that? Yeah, this is a bother. This needs to be a little bit smaller. Just a wee bit. I bought a little tiny book. I've bought many tiny books. Okay. Oh, good. Okay. And the name of the book was something like Small Places or something, Small Spaces. And I made I'll show it to you. I've showed it before, and I kind of cut it out. And let's see if we can do this. Put it over here. You could almost add this, I took my Brushos and stuck a pin in the top, so you could shake it out like salt and pepper. You could almost do that with this stuff, huh? Let's see. This is taking a little bit more concentration than my brain is really able to produce today. So I might have to do this all over again, but hey, what do I have but time on my hands? So that Streamathon was quite the endurance test. Okay. Now the big reveal. Oh, wow. Do you think I should leave those on when I, hi, Sandra. Should I leave these on when I do the magic and then peel them off? I think I will, and I will heat it from the bottom. I've never heard of doing that, and it makes so much sense. Let me leave those on, and then I'll take those off, and then I'll add some more embossing. I thought it would be really neat if I could get the clear stuff on at the same time and, do it all at once. But I'm afraid that I'm not sure whether that would really work. Just got some. No matter how careful you are, your board always ends up gritty. Top. All right. I'm going to try it from the bottom. Anybody else ever done bottom heating? It sounds weird. I'm going to heat your bottom. All right. The gun. The gun's on a hook right over here. Okay. So you do like this? It is, yeah. Just kind of like that. Oh, you can see it. It's kind of makes it. Whoops. That's okay. I guess it must take longer, huh? Nothing's happening. Get rid of that. Get out. Oh, it is happening. Get out of there. Okay. I can't see because it's dark where I'm working, but you can see. And it is happening. Oh my God. It's like magic. This is the only one where I didn't cut the flowers. I kept the flower sets together. Mm. Yeah. I think I got them. Yeah, I missed some gloss over there. Okay, yeah. That took about the same amount of time. I don't think it took any longer. It seemed like it did, but it didn't. Let me put this on my lap. That's probably not going to work. Let me stick it over here. Yeah, that worked. That's holy mackerel. I was a little dubious, just to be honest with you, Teresa. I wasn't sure, but it did work. You can see that it's a little glossy. Mm-hmm. Now you can see where you can see where I missed some of the, but I'm going to put the clear on because I think I dried the embossing. Let's try that. Let's put the clear on. Let's get out the embossing pen and see what that looks like. I just put clear embossing on the areas that I missed, and then at least it'll have a little, a little shine, right? Alrighty. I think I've said hi to everybody. No one knows, if not everybody knows what I'm doing, I'm sure everyone doesn't here. Actually, I don't know what I'm doing, so what am I going to tell people what I'm doing when I'm not really sure what I'm doing? Because a lot of times I really don't know what I'm doing. I do. I shouldn't say that. Most of the time I have an idea of what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm going to stick this here. That's going to work. That's going to work. That's going to work. But you always got to put this back, even if it's a pain in the butt. And then you got to pray to God you don't knock this over. Yeah, it's funny. You have these things and, you buy them for a certain project and then let's see, heat guns can burn and bubble, but if you see it from the bottom, you can tell if it's getting too hot. That's true. That's true. All right. All right. I think I'm going to grab this right in the middle, maybe. And that way, maybe it won't look like it's in a... Bye, Kim. Thank you so much for today and for being here. Appreciate, being here and being part of the feral. I think it's feral cats, right? Feral or wild cats. There it goes. Wow, it seems to be happening. Look at that. There it goes. You can see how dark that's getting? And then we'll come over to this side. Woo-hoo. Oh, and it really makes that area that I missed kind of not look so horrible. You know? Wow, and it's done. They're cooked. Wow. Okay. There we go. I'm very happy with that. That's really looking, doesn't that look pretty? Yeah, you can still see, but it's not as, at least it's got some gloss on it. It's not flat. Okay. Well, I tell you what, I'm sure you don't want to watch me do this. So let me stamp some of these flowers, color them in a little bit, and then maybe go to a little magazine harvesting. I watched. Wow. Funny that you should say wow, because look, this is wow embossing fluid. Not embossing fluid. No, embossing powder, super fine. Wow. Let me take this away, fold it this way in. So when you think, not one of my strong points, at least thinking logically. I think, yeah, that looks so much better. I thought if I just stuck them onto the embossing ring, it would look kind of flat and cheesy. But with them having this glittery look, I think it really makes them look a whole lot classier. And I love working on just index cards because I just have a whole bunch of them right next to me here. And move over. I cleaned after the marathon. It really was a marathon. And underneath this is clean as can be. Well, I hope they don't go off that. So let's do this. Let's find, there's the flowers I want to do. And I'm going to color them blue because I have matching floss and it's blue on the faux embroidery thing. And I got this. And move this, and I'll use my new favorite ink, which is the VersaFine Clair Pigment Ink. This company makes okay, bye. Okay, hi, Howie. Is he watching? Howie's such a good boy. Now, there's a lover boy. Oh, my God. Is that the most affectionate cat? Big old boy, Howie. If I can get the top off. I'm really... Okay. Sorry to say, this company here makes beautiful fountain pen ink, too. Gorgeous fountain pen ink. Ask me how I know. I have one of their fountain pen ink like brochures. I don't personally own any of their fountain pen ink. It's a little pricey, but look how beautiful that stamps. And it's probably I should do a comparison. I could probably do this with some archival, Timmy Ranger archival, and maybe there's no difference. But I only bought 3 colors, and this is because Safia was using it, and she was really happy with it. So I thought, well, I'll buy a couple to try them out. And I'm very, very happy with the intensity. Now maybe, but I think the Ranger ink is pigment ink, isn't it? What other kind of ink is there if it's not pigment? I don't know that much about my inks in this sense of the. And this is not cheap. It's pretty pricey, but I don't mind paying for something that's going to end up being a good product. You know what I mean? How many of these do I have? I only have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's all I need. So there. Cover that up. When you put the tops down, though, I have trouble opening because I think it's kind of almost like a vacuum lock when you put the, you can't get it off, which is good. Oh, these stamps are ancient. I don't even know where I got them. They are absolutely ancient. And let's, while I'm here, let's stamp that one too. Let me get the bigger stamping thing. Will it fit on there? Will it stick on there, more importantly? Yes, I hate that when the things fall off when you're, let's put this one down too. I'm not even sure what kind of flower this is. I mean, I recognize obviously the sunflower, and I don't even know what those little blue ones are. I went outside and I was showing the ladies in the craft room the flowers that I have, and I have no idea what they are, and they kind of identified them, and they said take a picture and Google it. So I need to do that. I've got some volunteer flowers that are just coming over from my neighbors, and it's not weeds, it's flowers. That's a good thing, right? So this is. So would anybody have a guess as to what type of flower that is? I'll hold it up so you can see. To give me a hint as to what I would color that. Ah, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Anybody know what kind of flower that is? I have no idea. It's got nice stippling on it, though. See the stippling? And I don't know whether I would. Yeah, I don't think I could use that. It would be really hard to cut that out. Cut it out. I mean, and put it on that thing. But I just wanted. I was just thinking about it. All right, let's do this. Especially, let's see, poppy. Oh yeah, I think. Oh, you're right. I think you're right. That does look like a poppy. Good call, Teresa. Okay, yeah, I think you're right. And that can be orange, red poppies come in. Okay. Hi, Jasper. And Joy says looks like an anemone. Anemone and anemone. You can go traditional red or declare it a Californian poppy. You can go orangey yellow. Oh, huh. But I'll have to think about that. I don't know. I mean, I was able to fussy cut these out, and this would kind of stand alone in the bottom of the thing. So I might cut it out just to see how close I can cut it. Cut it out. I don't know. When I say cut it out, I always want to say cut it out. Like, no, cut it out. Leave me alone. Cut it out. I don't know. I just come up with these. Okay, I'm just going to color this in. This is such a pretty blue. And I'm using the same color. These are fabric markers. Crafts for all, cheap fabric markers. Fabric marker, non-tostic. And I figured I would use the same, color because it would match. Because these are just going to be put on that faux embroidery thing, inspired by Louisa Hensel, who I love dearly. She is an absolute hoot. She's a Timmy person, so she uses, I think she's one of his designers now, and she pretty much exclusively uses Timmy products, and she makes some beautiful stuff. And she really has great ideas. Yeah, I like her. She's funny. God bless her. You know, she does, when she does her videos, she doesn't do live. When she does her videos, she does them in English, and then she does them again in German, because she's German. That's why she's doing them in German. Why else would you do them in German? I don't know. Practice your Deutsch. I told that whole story during the Streamathon. My journey through French, German, and Spanish. And I don't remember any of, well, 2 years. You're not going to know anything. Take 2 years of a language. I did talk my parents into Mallorca. So I'll come home and be a Spanish teacher. Not. It took me a while to become a teacher. After I graduated from college, another 40 years before I became a teacher. And but you know what? My parents didn't live long enough. They did live long enough to see me become a teacher, so I kept my word. Right? I'll become a teacher. My poor father. I think I told the story. My poor father thought the college that I was going to wasn't a real college, but he wrote the check for my tuition, but he always had his doubts whether it was a real college. And then Becky discovered that the college went bankrupt or closed in 2016, so it's no longer. We had a parent night at the school I taught at, and I was teaching 7th grade English at the time. And, you know, for 7th grade, every parent shows up. It's standing room only in the classroom, and these classrooms in Florida are really tiny. And we didn't have more than 20 kids in the classrooms. And they built the classrooms tiny. So I'm talking about, you know, my background and everything. And parents are standing up against the wall. And I start talking about, I graduated. I have my undergraduate degree from a really small college out on Long Island called Dowling College. I'm sure nobody's ever heard of Dowling College. And damned if a couple didn't meekly raise their hands. And they said, we graduated from Dowling College. I went, no, I didn't. So I thought that was really funny. Everyone kind of laughed. She said, we met at Dowling College. So. Alrighty. Coming along, folks. Isn't that a pretty blue? I know. That's right. You had a whole bunch of careers before you became a physical therapist, and you had to go back to school, right? Well, I started talking about my different jobs during the Streamathon, and I never really finished that train of thought because, you know, I'm not going to worry about these little things because I'm not cutting those out. You know, I'm not going to cut those out. I mean, I had the typical jobs, you know, as a kid, babysitting, 50 cents an hour. That's how old I am. And in the summertime, where I lived out on Long Island, there wasn't much like summer job opportunity. And my first cooking experience was I worked as a line cook in a cafeteria at a electronics plant, Maxim's Electronics out on Long Island, Islip, Long Island. And I worked the cafeteria, and they had that cafeteria was open early enough to feed breakfast to the people that were employed there, and then lunch, and then we shut down. And I did that one summer. This is when I was in college. And then I landed a work-study job, which was great. I had taken typing in high school, and that was like the most productive, useful course I ever took, because I became a fairly decent typist. So I became a student secretary for an English professor at Dowling College. And that paid really good money at the time. It was much higher than minimum wage. I'm dating myself. And I did that. And then I became the secretary to a sociology professor, Ashkant Nimbark, an Indian gentleman. And Ashkant Nimbark's number one goal was to be published in the New York Times. Oh my gosh, math. I did have to. Third grade math level, no undergraduate. Oh my God. That's amazing. Holy mackerel. So every week, Dr. Nimbark would have me type up his letter to the editor of the New York Times. Every week he wrote a letter to the editor in hopes that he would be published. And he could say, I was published in the New York Times. And he was published a couple of times, on the editor's page of the New York Times. But that was his thing. He was a funny. He was a good. I took him his sociology class. He was a little guy, and he had a different concept of personal space. So when he talked to you, he would be really, really very close, and you would back up, and he would move forward, and you back up, and the next thing you know, you're standing up against the wall, and you're having this conversation. And so I always found it uncomfortable to engage him in a one-on-one conversation. I wonder what happened to Ashkant Nimbark. God, he would be, well, I'm 75, so if he were alive, right, he'd be 90-ish. He could be. I don't know. Possibly. Now you had friends. I had friends that helped me in college too. Well, I took the GMAT to get into graduate school because the St. Bonaventure, the graduate school I went to get my master's degree, I said I had to take the GMATs, which is the graduate school entrance exam. It's like the SAT, but it's for graduate school. And because I hadn't been to school, I said, oh boy, this is going to be ugly. And it was. I bombed, and they said to me, don't worry about what you get. Don't worry about your score. It's no big deal. Do not fear. So I put the money down, and I studied. I tried, I bought the review things, but the math and the logic, one of the questions was, well, you're inviting 12 people to dinner, and you have to put out the place settings, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith can't stand Mr. and Mrs. Jones, and you can't seat them next to one another. And they had this whole big scenario. It was like a paragraph, like a short story, for Christ's sakes. And then you had to answer questions and think logically, well, where could these people sit at the table that they weren't next to the other couple that they didn't get along with? And I just, my eyes were crossed inside my head. And and why I remember, to this day, I remember that question about how you would arrange the table settings at the table so these certain people wouldn't be sitting next to one another. And that's your favorite kind of math. Yeah, I think, if you have that ability, I think it would be really fun to figure that out. And that's that logic, that's that other level of math that, you know, deductive reasoning or inductive reasoning. My brain just doesn't, it just doesn't go there. See, now that this is on a whole card, this is going to be much easier to emboss because I can just throw down, and I don't even know why I did these. Let's see, there is a raisin, my name spelled wrong. Oh, I remember, I know why your name's spelled wrong. I know that story. It's so funny. Put one on the porch and the other in the bathroom. What am I putting in the porch and bathroom? Reading back. I didn't go to college. Couldn't afraid it wasn't smart. Yeah, you probably could have, Angie. I've talked about this. I was, a B student at best in high school. I was not the smartest tack in the box, that's for sure. They don't. Oh, oh, that would have been funny. Just to write that in, that would have been funny. Yeah, that's fine. Then they wouldn't be sitting next to one another. Someone would be in the bathroom and someone would be on the porch. That's right. Teresa, you have a good sense of humor. Nothing better than a good sense of humor. That's a good one. All right, that's going to be so much easier, right? I can just emboss this on the card and then cut it out after it's embossed. Woohoo! Let's get out some blue. Blue on blue. Get out my little, I almost forgot to get this out. That was not smart. Get this out. This is the one I put the stuff on, isn't it? Yeah, it's hard to tell. All right. Here we go. So how many of you have some of Timmy's embossing glaze? I think that his embossing glaze is more transparent than regular embossing powder. That's a bit of an overkill, but that's okay. Joggles, when Timmy would come out with a new color, Joggles would put together a package, and in that package would be the ink pad, and it would have the oxide ink, the distress ink, it would have the spray, it would have the ink pads, it would have the re-inkers, it would have the embossing glaze, and an enamel pin for that new color. And they would sell that all, everything that had to do with Timmy's new color, and they would sell it as a package. And that's where I got a lot of these, because these are colors. Like this is the speckled egg color, and that was the stamp color or a color. I don't think has he come out with, he always comes out with one or two colors. I don't think Joggles did that anymore, because I think it probably was not a profitable venture for them. You love embossing? Yeah, this is embossing glaze. I mean, it's the same process, but I think the result is a little bit different, but I can't remember. It's hard to get these tops on. I just want to make sure I put the top on. All right. So you think bottom up? I don't even think I need to do the hemostats, because I can hold it out here. All right. And hopefully you'll be able to see the magic. See the magic. It is fun. All right, here we go. Upside down. That is a little hot. Wait a minute. Is it that hot? I might have to. Yeah, that's a little bit hot. I'm going to get the hemostat. It's a little hot Lily. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. She's looking at me. She's mad at me. I pissed her off. I mean, a lot of times I don't. Oh, will you stop making him richer? I like him. I'm a Timmy fan. I know. He and Mario. I don't know that his products are any more expensive than, well, it's a name brand product. Look at that. Can you see that? Oh, look how beautiful that is. Look at that. You can really. Chris is back. Oh my God. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Gorgeousimo. I love it. High fiber Floozy Crafts. Your name came up today in Kim's, right? You're new here. Thanks for stopping by. I am playing with floss. And I just flossed these flowers. Say that, flossing flowers. Oh wow. Oh man, I am happy with that. I can't even begin to tell you how happy I am. And I'll do the other one. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, Lily. So people know my Lily story. I've been feeding her a little bit of tuna fish to get her arthritis medicine in her for a little bit of tuna fish, maybe an ounce every single day, 7 days a week, probably for the last 3 years. And recently, in the last 18 months or so, her behavior has changed and she's become aggressive and she's attacked me a couple of times. And it's, this is not my cat. So I tried to start thinking about what could be wrong, what could be different, what is going on here. And then I realized that, there's mercury in tuna fish. You can't, and they even they warn pregnant women not to eat too much tuna fish. And I thought, oh my God, I've been poisoning her with mercury. And sure enough, I went online and typed in mercury poisoning in cats. All these articles popped up left and right. And they're saying, well, if you want to give your cats tuna fish, you can give them about a tablespoon of tuna fish once a week. And I'd been giving it to her and her brother from another mother, Tiger, who has since passed away. And I'm wondering that maybe that was his demise because he was a much smaller cat and he was older than she, but they'd been on the tuna. That whole tuna routine had started with both of them because you couldn't give tuna fish to one of them and not to the other. So then, I had to just figure out what I could give her instead of tuna fish. And we were searching that and we came up and someone online suggested baby food, chicken baby food. So I bought some Gerber chicken baby food and she's liking it and she's eating it. So now I have all this tuna fish to get rid of, because I buy it by the case. And she's that, I haven't taken her to the doctor yet. And I have to. Apparently a simple blood test will determine whether she has mercury poisoning. If she does have mercury poisoning, there's no reversing it. I mean, but maybe obviously not giving it to her, maybe that'll improve her behavior. They listed all of the side effects of mercury poisoning. Well, they said occasionally. It's okay to give it to them occasionally, but not every single day. I know. I love tuna fish. I could eat tuna fish. I'm talking to you, and does anybody remember what I forgot to do to these? Anybody paying attention out there? What didn't I do? I forgot to put the friggin' powder on. Oh, Anne. Tutelation therapy. Well, I don't know. It sounds very expensive. I forgot to put the glaze on. Adria, you get to move to the front of the classroom. Oh, Lordy. Anyway, I got excited. So long story short, if you're a cat owner, you know that they train you. Yeah, we all have some mercury poisoning. Yeah, absolutely. And poor Raoul said, "I have it every day. I put tuna fish in my salad." All right, let's start this all over again. And but so she's now having Gerber pureed chicken and gravy. But the gravy is the two ingredients: chicken and cornstarch. So, and I think I'm just gonna buy a whole chicken. Throw it in a pot of water, boil it down, debone it, and throw it in my Ninja and make my own puree. But I didn't want to go to all that work until I knew whether she was going to eat it or not. How does it get mercury in the tuna? Well, the tuna fish has mercury because there is mercury in the oceans where the tuna swim. And that's thanks to us. And some fish retain tuna fish more in their fatty tissue, like they sell you, salmon. Sometimes there'll be a warning. And the tuna that I buy human grade tuna for, and it's wild caught. And the tuna, it's not enough to kill the tuna, but anyway, that's the story. And she's got me now. She starts bothering me to be fed at 4 a.m. in the morning. I mean, just horrible. And she jumps in the bed, and if I try closing the door, all she does is howl outside my bedroom door. And she doesn't know it's 4 a.m. in the morning. She just knows she wants to be fed. So this morning, I'm laying in bed. I'm awake. I'm thinking, excuse my language, damn it, I'm not going to feed her before 4 a.m. I'm just not going to. And I'm thinking to myself, that's pretty stupid, Anne. She has no idea what time it is, nor does she care. She just wants to be fed. So I got up at 3:58 and I fed her chicken. And then typically I go back to bed. Obviously, I go back to bed. And I closed the old fish, more mercury. Yeah, that's true. And then I closed my bedroom door. And I did that this morning. And I fell back to sleep. And then she decided she wanted in the room. And then she started meowing, and she kept on jumping up and hitting the door with her paws. And this went, and you're kind of half asleep, and you're going, oh, I don't want to get up. And I figured, I finally got up, opened the bedroom door, right? Didn't say anything, just opened the bedroom door, went right back into my bed. And that little booger, and I'm thinking, that's not what I'm thinking. That little booger, she came into my bedroom, and I have wood floors, and it's a pitter patter, right? So she pitter patters. I can hear her walk into the bedroom door, into my bedroom. She doesn't even jump up on the bed, the little bitch. She walks into my bedroom, walks out again, and goes to sleep on the hassock in the living room. She just wanted the door open. And then when I got up this morning, for real, normally she follows me everywhere. She comes into I can't go to the bathroom without her in the bathroom with me. So when I got up in the morning, she didn't come into the bathroom. So I'm thinking, she's really pissed at me. She's really pissed at me. And she's acting all pissy today. She hasn't followed me around. She kind of is. So I sometimes people say, oh, my cat's mad at me or my dog's mad at me. And I'm thinking, I don't think that's related. They don't have that ability. But I'm starting to think that I thought, honestly, when she didn't get up when I got up, I really thought that maybe she had, gone over the rainbow bridge, as people say. And I even actually came out into the living room to make sure that she was still alive before I took my shower, because she was. So I think maybe she was pissed at me. So Adria, even have tried to develop a, yeah, and zero, Lily one. She's right here. Oh man, she's right smack dab right here staring at me. Let me see if I can't show it to show you. Oh, I'm afraid. I'm afraid the camera will come down some other time because I don't know that I've got is tight. I have the camera now up over my head. And I'm using a mic stand that's meant for as a mic stand, but it comes with attachments where I can put my webcam. And it's up there, and yeah. So now look, isn't that gorgeous? Look, that's a little bit better now with the embossing powder on it, right? I think it's much better. So I think she's mad at me. So that's the. Oh, I know what I was going to show you. I've been messing around with drawing like two little like cartoon characters, Lily and me, and I've done them on. I can show them to you on Procreate. Typically, I wear cut off, pants that I've cut off, and a t-shirt and flip-flops, and I have gold hoop earrings that I've been wearing for I don't know how long, forever. And so that's kind of the character that I've drawn. And I was kind of thinking of making it into like a comic strip, but I'm not creative enough to write a comic stripped comic strip speaking. But I'll show you my character. It's on Procreate. Let me see where it is. Oh, I was sharing this with some gals because I had done this and I came up with a wish list. And my wish list is really weird, and I'll share it with you. But this is the okay. So that's my little drawing of me and Lily, and I got my little flip-flops on, right? And this was my wish list. Number 1, no hurricanes. Number 2, more peace. Number 3, Daniel Smith watercolors. Number 4, no slumps. And number 5, inspiration. And I have no idea when I did this. I have no idea. No hurricanes, though. And number 3, I want to be able to buy some Daniel Smith watercolors. So that's my... And then I did another one. I made a birthday card from Miss Lena. And here's that same character kind of again. And I said, we all need someone to share in our weirdness. And that's the card that I sent to Lena. And there's another drawing of me. So it varies. But anyway, that's why no slumps. Meaning slumps in working, get like a slump where you're kind of not getting anything done. I think that's what I was. Yes. And speaking, Chris has 2 beautiful cats. We saw them today. They were on her lap, or they were kind of on your lap, right? Yeah, they were, right, Chris? They were on your lap. And she's got some really beautiful cats. They're gorgeous. And the one is the big one is a Siamese, right? Let's see. Hi, Barbara. Thank you. Yeah. Just one of those things. Play with. We're working on my faux embroidery thingy majiggy thing that inspired by Lisa. Oh my God, Lisa Henson. Oh, I bet. Music in the garden. Gosh. You have some neat things in your community, I'm going to cut these out. There was there is, I said hi, Mama. Didn't I say hi to you earlier, Mama? Yeah. Uh, there's a museum. There is a museum. It's my favorite museum of all the museums that I've ever been to, and I've been to a few. It's called the Frick. I know. You have to be careful when you say it. It's the Frick Museum. And it's right across the street from the Metropolitan Opera House in New York City. When I first got married, I live on Staten Island, and so we would go into the city quite often. And my ex was a member of the Metropolitan Opera Guild. I'd never been to an opera in my life, but so I had that experience. And he introduced me to the Frick. And the Frick is a small museum that is housed in a private mansion that was built by the Fricks. And it was on Millionaire Row, Fifth Avenue in New York City. And they had a beautiful area that had natural acoustics where they would have these unbelievable concerts once a month. And the only way you could get a ticket to that concert was by lottery. So you'd have to mail in, and it was very particular. You had to mail in a self-addressed envelope included with your request. And it was a lottery. And they pulled the envelopes out of a big barrel, and if you won, and they would mail back the tickets. And we would do that religiously every week. And we actually won twice. We actually were able to go in that music. And there was normally quartets, with cello, violins, violas, maybe a bass, small ensembles. Oh my God. And the sound in that room, it was like a courtyard. Unbelievable. And you couldn't buy a ticket. So that was my music at the Frick. When we were on the cruise, they have what they call Central Park, which is in the middle of the cruise ship, and it's all trees, and it's like walking through Central Park or an arboretum. And they had live music there every night. There was a wonderful female jazz vocalist. And that was, we went there quite frequently. I mean, we were only on the cruise 3 nights, but usually every night after dinner, we would go. The boys, the grandkids weren't thrilled, but I really enjoyed just sitting there and just taking a break, let dinner digest, and listen to these live music. It was great. Back in the olden days, they would have live music in the gazebos in like town squares or town parks. Oh yes, thumbs up. That would be greatly appreciated. And if you're new to my channel, I mean, obviously, I would love you to subscribe if you feel I'm worthy. And even if you don't feel I'm worthy, please subscribe. And most importantly, I've talked about this with several, through the Streamathon. Leave a comment, and apparently, I've been told, I wasn't able to confirm, that you can just leave an emoji that just proves that you're a human being and not a bot, as in a robot. Because apparently what happens, if you get a whole bunch of new subscribers all at once, the algorithms, YouTube kicks in and figures, well, this is suspicious because she's, and I got a whole bunch of new subscribers because of the Streamathon, which is awesome. I think I got 7 or 8. Oh, thank you for giving me the finger. And apparently giving me the finger is good, but it doesn't count towards keeping, because it's not a person. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a person, but so, and apparently I was told that an emoji will do the trick. So you could leave me a pile of poop. I would hope you wouldn't, but a smiley face or something like that. And the problem, and Dee Dee's the one that brought this up, and it makes sense. If you're a live streamer, bye, Angie. I hope you have a better evening. If you're a live streamer and people are in your stream live, there's no reason for them to leave a comment because we're commenting throughout the whole stream. Now, if there's a replay and they go back and then they comment, yeah, that's what happens, Chris, especially when you get a whole bunch. And I think I picked up about 7 new subscribers during the streamathon, and I will be shocked if I keep them all. I mean, and it fluctuates too. And you can't leave a comment during a live stream. You have to go back, and that's a pain in the ass. Excuse my French, but it is. And just an emoji or just a simple word. I was there, great stream, horrible stream, anything. So it'll be interesting to see how many I keep and how many they take away. And I went to Google and I Googled that. How do you keep YouTube from taking away new subscribers? And I couldn't get any answer pertaining to new subscribers, because I don't think that they don't take away old subscribers, but I think it's when you have a whole influx of new people coming in that their little robot ears perk up and go, aha, they're trying to scam YouTube. And I've got 737 subscribers, and I'm thrilled with every one of them, but I'm not. And I don't work real hard. I mean, I do work hard. I do I do actually work hard. I spend, time trying to figure out what I want to do. And I have my friends comment, streams with Justin. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Right, Nancy. That's exactly right. That's it. Just a little bit. But it's hard. You have to think, well, okay, tomorrow I'm going to go back and open up Anne's replay and leave an emoji. But that's like, I mean, I don't know how long it takes to upload, and when I'm using StreamYard, the nice thing about StreamYard is if you click the YouTube button, whatever happens on StreamYard is simultaneously happening on YouTube. And you're probably watching, well, you're obviously watching on YouTube. I don't know. Can you watch something live on StreamYard? I guess you can. But you see it on, right? When you're watching my streams, you're seeing it on YouTube, right? You're not seeing it on any type of interaction like chat. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. But you're seeing it on YouTube, right? You're not seeing it on... Barbara! Welcome back. I hope everything's okay. I've been worried about you. I haven't seen your musical and your et al. If those of you who didn't do research paper, et al. Means and others. My favorite. What is that called? At the end of a research paper. Not a post-it note. Oh my God, you know what I mean. You do a research paper and you have to cite your sources. When there's a whole bunch of authors, you can put et al., meaning and others. Footnotes. I'm so glad to see you. Barbara's another one of our beautiful Canadian friends. What do you mean? Author citation? Yep. Footnotes. Leave those footnotes. Do you know, I remember footnotes in the olden days, because I'm old, when you did a research paper and you were typing it, and this is before computers and autocorrect, you're typing it, and then you'd have to, before you put the paper into the typewriter, you would draw like a light pencil line to be sure to leave room for the footnotes, and then you'd have to type, and you'd have to buy a book that would tell you how to cite everything. And there was different types of citations. There was Chicago style, and there was ALA and AMA and BS. No, not BS, but I felt like saying BS. And they all had different variants of the same thing. And then when I was teaching school, and I taught older kids, and they had to do research papers, and that was part of part of being a college preparatory school. You have to do research papers. You can in Google Chrome, in their doc part of their, in the Google Drive, you can literally type in, you can set up your paper and say, okay, Chicago style. And then when you go to do a footnote, it automatically formats it for you in Chicago style. Or if it's in, what's the other one? The American Psychologist. And that one's different from the MLA, Modern Language Annotations. And then there's, thank you, Jasper. We're putting in Goldblock's channel. I'm assuming that's what you're doing, or your own. Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Gotta help everybody out. Spread the word. Well, I think my channel's pretty silly too, so. I'm loving the way these, I loved, you know what? I loved the research part of it. I love doing research. I could have been a research. I could have sat in the, just in today. I remember research when, you had to go to the library and you'd have to take out the microfilm, the microfiche, and have to read, scroll through that to read newspaper articles, and you'd have to go through a catalog and find what you wanted, and then you have to go and hand a slip to a librarian, and then they'd go in the back room, and then they'd bring out this dusty old journal, and then you'd go through that and read it, take notes, and cite it. BS, yes, MS and PhD. That's it. Yep, absolutely. I was thinking about, this is before I got involved in doing anything like this. I thought about maybe getting a PhD in history, an aspect of history. You just can't get a PhD in history. You would have to have a thesis. I had to write a master thesis for my master's degree. And again, I enjoyed the research. And I told my son, he's obviously might have to do 90% of it online. And there was one small college, I think, up in New Hampshire that offered a PhD in history. The part of history that I think that I was interested in. My oldest son has a PhD. And he said to me, why would you want to do that? And I'm going, well, because I thought of, I would I could do the research. I could still do it, right? Couldn't understand why I wanted to do that. But his is a science one, and his has more practicality than, the typical PhD. Well, I'm sure all of them have, but because he's a cancer research scientist, and so he's using that in his work. But getting a master's degree in education, because New York State said you can't be permanently certified as a teacher without it. That was getting that master's degree. Did it make me a better teacher? Hell no, it didn't make me a better. Oh, I'm glad you put yours in, Jasper. Thank you. It did not make me a better teacher at all. there's certain jobs that really, I think, I could be totally wrong. People, if there's any teachers in here, they could basically, oh, that's really, if you're over 65, you can attend state. Oh, God, that's awesome. I wonder if they have something like that here in Florida. They have a program here in Florida that I don't even think they have in New York, is where you can, when your kids are born, you can start, putting aside money for a Florida University, Florida school system, whatever their initials are, for their colleges. And then by the time your kids are old enough to go to college, it's like a prepaid tuition to a state school, to a Florida state school. And when you lock into that, you're locking into whatever the credits are costing that year. You know what I'm saying? So, and we know that that's how they charge you per credit, and those credit that goes up every year. So when you open one of those accounts in Florida, you're locked into whatever the credit is. Oh, okay. And in Mexico, it is mandatory to have a master's degree if you are teaching at that level. And they pay much better with, yeah, yeah, you get paid a little bit more. I got a one bump raise when I got my master's degree. And then, of course, every year when you get a raise, then your salary, the base salary that you're getting the raise based on, is that bump is in. You don't get that bump every year, but and they were very accommodating, because I moved down to Florida before I finished my master's, and I told the story during the Streamathon that I really was very tempted not to complete it. And there was a woman who was the head of the English department where I was, and she said, "You know what? You really should finish that. You're almost done. You're shy, what, two or three courses." And she said to me, "You never know what life's going to bring you. You never know. You think you may be here, and you're never going to need that master's, but you don't know." And I wouldn't say go get a master's and start from scratch, but three courses shy, you should really get it. So I made I worked out a deal that with St. Bonaventure, that I took 3 courses here at University of Central Florida, UCF, that they would accept, and they if I passed them, and of course I did, and they would accept that towards completion of my master's degree, and they would award me my master's degree. So that's how I got my master's degree. And I was, again, probably one of the older people in my class. And the younger student said to me one day, he said, "Well, you know what UCF stands for?" And I said, "It stands for the University of Central Florida." He said, "No, it stands for Under Construction Forever." And then another student said, "No, it doesn't stand for Under Construction Forever. It stands for You Can't Finish." Because they were complaining that when you get close to finishing, then they change the requirements, and the course that you need to graduate is no longer available. So a lot of kids felt very frustrated. So they thought it stood for You Can't Finish. UCF is huge. We've got campuses all over the place. I think the student body is like 40,000. But anyway. So they mailed me my master's degree, and the postmark on it, which I saved and is behind the degree in the frame, was September 11th, 2001, was the postmark when it was mailed to me in Florida. Isn't that creepy? Well, I'm almost done here, and my time is up, because I turn into a pumpkin at 7:00, and I'm way past my cocktail hour. One of the best institutions here with 100% scholarship. That is awesome. I didn't have that. But my ex paid for my master's degree. So I think he was feeling guilty. You would write a 40-page minimum, and we had to write out in pencil and turn in. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Who's turning 60? Happy 60th. I missed who's turning 60. Yes, it's time. I'm an hour overdue, past my bedtime, past my martini time. I shouldn't say I have a martini. It's not really a martini. It's just Tito's on the rocks with some. Oh, Jasper, happy birthday. Good for you. Woohoo. I hope you having a great day. Continue to have a great day. She was saying, I think she had enough after one boy was throwing stuff at her. Yeah, I mean, yeah, my son is a special ed. My oldest son is a cancer research guide doctor, and my youngest son is a special ed teacher. And there's one little boy, and he's in Utah, and he's so bad and so violent that it's just going to be Richard, this kid, and an aide with this kid all day. That's how bad he is, but sad. All righty, folks. I've overstayed my, I've overstayed my, what's the rest of that expression? Anyway, well, hopefully next week I will be able to show you the complete, this complete project, and hopefully I'll have a clock in it. It's been so great spending this time with you. And, whoops, my new ending is, if you can't be good, be fabulous. So have a fabulous week. Bye.